Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge.
And let's talk horror.
So today we are doing our review on the new movie, Drop.
So, guys, we're going to be giving you our positives, our negatives, and then we are going to spoil the film. So, the main basis of this movie is a widowed mother is trying to go out and get back into the dating pool again. She's been talking to this guy for a couple months, and now they're going to finally go on their first date, but there are dire consequences ahead of them on this first date.
Yeah, so let's get into the positives. So some of the positives, the cast is very believable. Great acting. You really felt the emotion. You really felt them like being scared and anxious, and even like a lot of like awkwardness of like being on a first date and stuff like that. Like you could feel it. So they portrayed that really well.
And speaking of awkwardness, we're not in our normal studio, guys, because we had to film this review as quick as we could. So we're on the road, wanted to film the review pretty quick. And like Ashley said, the awkwardness of this whole thing is so real. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine. We've been together 20 years. I can't imagine
I would know how to date somebody.
To go on a first date.
It would be weird.
I felt the awkwardness between our couples.
Absolutely. And the camera work is really great. There's, they're panning around the room, trying to figure out who the person that's dropping these hints off to her, being spectators, like, oh, could it be them? Just kind of panning the room, and just different shots is really awesome.
And the anxiety of not being able to be there for your kid when your kid's in trouble is awful.
I couldn't imagine that feeling.
And we're trying to be as vague as possible here because we're trying to give you positives without spoiling anything. Yeah. There will be spoilers later on, but the anxiety of having to watch your kid go through stuff that you can't be there to protect them for sucks.
Absolutely. And Matt, the waiter, he is hilarious. He is absolutely the comedic relief in this.
He amps up the awkwardness, too.
Yes. Because he is awkward and
it's his first day on the job. It's his first day on the
job. It's their first date. And he has diarrhea of the mouth a little bit.
Shots.
And he made me laugh a couple of different times. He's definitely the comedic relief because there's a lot of stuff that's going on that makes you feel that anxiety. Yeah.
And I also want to give a quick shout out to the bartender. For noticing things that need to be noticed.
Yes.
And we
women
just want
have to stick together with things.
Well, not just women, because Matt notices it too.
Yeah, I know, but
but if you're in an abusive relationship or if you're out in public and you are going through some type of abuse, please reach out for help.
Yeah. I just love, and I know you said that men do it too, and Matt noticed it too, which he absolutely does. I just love that she's like, I can tell you're tense.
Do you need help?
Yes, I can get you out of this situation, and I loved that.
Not only if you're in that situation and you in your home life and you need help, if you notice someone in that situation, reach out to them like she did. Go up to them. Hey, is there something I can do to help you? Do you need out of this situation? That was a beautiful moment.
It was.
And after that, the third act is action packed.
It really is.
For a lot of what the movie does throughout the first and second act, the third act really ramps everything up and makes it very much worth it. So those are some of our non-spoiler positives. Let's get into the negatives of Drop.
So some of the negatives, the red herrings are so obvious, to the point where it's annoying. I don't want to give too much away.
Spoilers,
yes, but it's just it's so obvious. I looked at him and said, this is this.
No way.
And
she did. Yeah. She genuinely looked at me and she was like, "There's no way." And I was like, "I agree."
I was like, "It's too easy." It's so yeah.
And red herrings are fine, but when they're this blatantly obvious, it is rather annoying. And there's a lot of plot holes in this movie. This movie could be shot through really quick. Again, if you're looking for just a mind, you shut off your mind, have a good time, kind of like Trap from last year.
It really is.
If you don't poke too much holes in the story, it's fine.
But the action, I feel like if you're going for an action-packed
horror movie.
Yeah, the third act. But even the acting, I feel like the acting and everything.
The acting alone makes this movie
positive,
worth it. Yes, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yes. So like I said before, the herrings, it's so obvious who the killer is. Right as soon as you see him and the things he says, you're like, That's our killer.
You know right away.
That's our killer.
And again, that's something else we're going to talk about in the spoilers.
Yeah.
I know we keep saying that, but it's hard to say these negatives without going
too in depth
into it. With this, too, there's a lot of scenes that are like regurgitated, repeated scenes, and they do make sense in the plot,
yeah.
but it just keeps happening over and over and over, and it causes it to be kind of boring once they keep happening over and over again, which sucks because these characters are doing so well.
They keep you intrigued.
Right. While I'm saying, okay, now you guys have heard me say before, I'd rather watch a shitty movie than a boring movie. When I say these moments are boring, this movie's not boring.
No.
It's not. But I mean, these moments get boring because they keep happening. I got to go do this. I got to go do that. I got to go do this. You need to go do that.
I mean, again.
And it makes sense in the story.
That's kind of how you have to go about it. So.
Right. Well, let's just stop being so damn vague now, guys.
Let's get in and let's spoil some shit.
Let's get into the spoilers now. All right, guys, so now we are going to spoil this film for you. We find out that Violet has to kill Henry, her date. Violet's our lead actress in the film. If she doesn't, her sister who's babysitting her son will die. Which
isn't really a spoiler because if you do watch trailers,
you know that this is the basis of the movie.
The plot.
If you haven't seen trailers, we know a lot of people don't watch trailers. They don't watch trailer reactions, so we wanted to leave this in the spoiler section. Her son and her sister who's babysitting her son will die if she doesn't kill Henry. She starts getting not airdrops, digidrops.
Digidrops.
Which are an older version of airdrops. Why would we mention that? Maybe that's going to come into play later on in our spoilers.
Do you think so?
Maybe.
You also find out that Violet had to kill her husband in self-defense. Trigger warning, guys. There is spousal
abuse.
Spousal abuse, yes. And it
shows it. It's heavy.
It's heavy. You see him kicking her. She has
there's
bruises all
a
over
firearm
her face.
involved with her kid as well.
Yeah. So
if you're in that type of situation, I know it can feel like you can't get help. Please reach out and get help.
Please.
Before it's too late.
Nobody deserves to be treated
man
like
or
that.
woman.
Nobody.
I don't care. It's not funny if there's a female abusing a male.
No.
Anybody in that type of situation.
No abuse is okay.
Right. Please seek help. Get help. You need it. You deserve it. You are worth something. So she writes on a $20 bill.
Because
at the beginning of everything, cameras.
He's seeing her. He knows what she's doing.
He can hear her.
If you call the cops, you're done. Your kid's gonna die. Your sister's gonna die. So she takes her lipstick and writes
on a $20 bill that there's 2 hostages at this address. She gives it to the piano player because earlier in the night he was hitting on her and she said, what's your favorite song? And she's like, any Pink Fong? Like Baby Shark's a big one for me. So, she tips him and writes that on the $20 bill. He walks over and he sits down at the bar. He looks at it, then he looks at her, picks up his phone to make a call, and then he puts it back down. Well, then she finds that $20 bill in her food. And it's like, there's no way the killer... And again, it shows later that the killer followed him over there, blah, blah, blah. There's no way he could have put it perfectly on the bottom of this plate underneath her salad. That's another one of those plot holes.
Who knows? Well, the chef was placing it. He just
slid it in there. Had the time to do all that.
Yeah, that is...
It's a cool effect for the movie, but
when she's eating and she sees it, oh, fuck.
And then the piano player falls. He dies. He was poisoned.
Yes.
It's just... But that's one of those... parts where if you think too much about it, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's no way he could have actually gone through with that.
You feel really bad for Henry. He seems like such a patient, nice
sweet,
guy.
Handsome.
He's handsome.
Charming.
He is like the full package, and she's had a lot going on. And he doesn't really know the full extent of it.
He doesn't.
And so
he still sticks with her.
It just makes her look like she's not interested, and this is too much for her. And you really feel bad for the guy because he is actually a good guy.
Yeah. Well, and then, the guy that's digi-dropping says, I need you to poison Henry's drink. So she goes to the bar, gets 2 tequilas. She poisons one of them. When Henry goes to take a drink, she reaches over and knocks a big glass of wine onto him. So he goes to clean up. Well, at this point, she's looking around. And something I want to say real quick. At the beginning of the movie, when she first gets to the bar, there's an older guy there on a blind date. And he's talking to her, and you already know there's something up with this guy.
Yeah.
The minute you see him, there's something up. And he's like, well, I'm not into technology, so I'm doing this. And then this is when, a little bit later on in the movie, Henry's like,
When she's showing him the drops.
He's like, I'm into airdropping myself, but this is digi-dropping. This is like early form. And he even calls Facebook its earliest form. When the older guy, when she's talking to him, I can't remember what it was called, but he's like, oh yeah, you guys call it Facebook. I called it this, which was like the beta version of it, the first.
Right.
So when that happens, then Henry says this. He's like, oh, this is digi-dropping. This is really early technology. You're like,
it's the old fucking guy.
It's the old guy.
Yeah.
So she walks over, and the old guy makes her take a shot, and then gives Henry his shot. He takes it, but goes back to the table.
It's like Henry knew, like they're looking at each other, and he knows something is up,
but he can't put his finger on it.
Yeah.
Well, then the guy starts eating his dessert, and she
tells this whole story about being abused and sitting at a table and pretending that she believes that her husband is
the apology meal after a beating.
Do you remember what the dessert was that he was eating?
It was like
the dessert that her husband always get. And she says, and I would sit there and I would pretend that I was going to, leave, and I never would. And
just like I pretended.
That speech really resonate, like it's just like so sad. Watch this woman who puts up with this bullshit time and time again because she just feels so bad about herself.
She feels like she's worthless.
Yeah.
And this is her worth is to stay with this man.
This man did to her. And so he takes her to this apologetic meal.
Every time.
Yeah. And so he gets this dessert and this guy's eating it.
And she goes, just like I pretended to poison Henry
and you're
earlier.
Like, fuck yeah.
And then the guy looks down at his dessert, and then you see that when he was looking, what did he do? He walked away for a second, or he did something. When he was looking up at Henry to talk to Henry, she poisoned his dessert. Yeah. And I think that's what it was. I could be wrong, guys. We're fresh out of the theater, so we were trying to take as many notes as we could.
She dumped it in his dessert, regardless.
Yeah, either way, she dumped, no matter what he was doing. She dumped it in his dessert, and he's about to die. So he takes his firearm out, and he shoots at Violet, but Henry jumps in the way
and gets
because
shot.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
And it blows a hole in the glass, and they're way up in a tower.
Fucking high as hell.
I couldn't do it.
No.
There's no way.
There's no way. I don't even think I could. I could sit next to the...
No chance.
Yeah.
But earlier on, another great thing Henry does is at the very beginning of the date, he pulls out a hockey puck. And he's like, now that you guys are here in Chicago, I bought your son a hockey puck so he can know who to root for. Which, no, you don't root for the Chicago Blackhawks. You root for the Detroit Red Wings. I don't give a shit where you are. This is Red Wing country, okay? And she takes it and she throws it. It hits the glass. And he's like, you missed. And this is where the glass shatters. He goes flying out, which... doesn't look the greatest.
No, when he lands, it doesn't. But then
when you see her,
that, and I'm surprised that didn't give you anxiety.
Oh, it totally did.
Like her, because she's holding on to this cloth and it's ripping, and Henry saves her, and gives her his car keys. And
he's like, I'm gonna call the cops. What's the address? You go save your kid.
So she goes, and Toby and her sister are like pretty much fighting for their lives. Like,
and the aunt goes all out.
She is not taking shit. Like, she is, fighting back, stabbed him with a piece of mirror and everything.
It was mirror. Yeah, it was a piece of glass from the mirror that shattered when she got thrown into it.
She does get shot, and you think Toby gets shot as well. He shoots at the bed that you thought Toby was in.
And the mom comes in, and at the beginning of the movie, this didn't seem important at the beginning.
Yeah,
but
it's like a little remote control car.
And he drives it over to mom, and there's a note on it that says, where's Toby hiding?
Yeah.
Well, once they're good in this all-out battle, the guy ends up losing his firearm at one point, and while they're in the midst of the battle, the mom's laying there, the remote control car comes up, and the firearm's on it.
Yeah.
So the guy, like an idiot, is just standing there, and he unmasks himself, and he was a part of the movie way earlier, which wasn't even... I'm going to read your meter, ma'am, and you knew right away.
Which was creepy, because he didn't knock on her door. He knocked on her window and was, like, staring in it. Like, how the fuck did you even know she was standing by her window? That's weird.
You knew that he was up to something, too, and she called that, too. She was like, there's something up with the meter guy.
Weird
and you knew it, because, again, I'm here to check your meter.
Who does that? Like, you would either just check it because you know where it is, or you're going to knock on the door, hey, where's your meter? You're not going to go to somebody's window and just expect them to be standing there.
But like a dipshit, he does it, and mom grabs the gun off the car that Toby drives up and eliminates this guy.
Yeah.
Something else about this movie, we talked about how, she had killed her husband. She didn't. She didn't have the strength to, and that's why she still feels so weak. He ended up taking his own life right in front of her and her son. He pointed the gun right at Toby when he was a little baby standing at the baby gate, and she couldn't stop him, and that's why she still feels so worthless.
She feels like she's a bad mother because of that. And again, so sad that he put her down so badly
that she couldn't defend her kid.
That she thought that she was the bad one.
And that's why they chose her to do this. Because
they wanted to pretty much frame her
and
for
she's already
killing.
done this before.
Yeah.
They've already killed someone before.
So,
but again, more plot holes.
Yeah.
Like, what if she wouldn't have went on the date? How did they know that she was going to be the one to do it? Like, there's just so many plot holes in this.
we wouldn't have a movie.
Right. But overall, what would your ranking be?
My ranking is 3 out of 5. Like I said, I feel like the acting alone, it kept me
It's worth the price
intrigued.
of admission.
Even them just going back and forth, I did have a good time with it. I like the action-packed, big mama bear beating some ass for her kid. Like, I liked all that. And even, you have,
Henry?
Henry. You have, their kids.
He doesn't save the day.
Yeah, no, she does.
She does.
Like,
and then she goes
I
to see
feel
him
like
in the
that's
hospital at
like
the end.
it's full circle.
Yes.
Like, she finally saved her son. And so it just
she got her hero moment,
and I just love that she even saved Henry. She saved his life,
and he tells her that.
Yeah,
I would like to go on a second date with you. How about something really boring?
Technically, his job is the reason that it was kind of his fault, but
right, because that's the thing. They were trying to get rid of him because he was his thing was he was the photographer for the mayor, so he couldn't do the pictures and stuff, and he was trying to embezzle money from the mayor and this was how they busted him, was by doing this. So he had the picture. She had to smash the HD card, the SD card, and the phone, and that was his whole thing. And that's why they were trying to get rid of him, is because he was going to roll over on the mayor. He was an informant, and again, there's so many things that had to go perfect for this to work out. But while this isn't the worst Blumhouse movie I've ever seen,
it's not the best. It's
still a Blumhouse movie. I'm giving it 2.25 out of 5. But like I said, guys, let us know what you think down in the comments. What are your opinions on Drop?
I feel like it's worth your watch. I feel like it's worth your
still worth watch. Stream
time.
It for sure. Let us know in the comments. What are your thoughts on Drop? What were your opinions on the end? We would love to know. Where did we get it right? Where did we get it wrong? If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror.
Stay who you are.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.